you know, you got to go back and look at the time frame when I was a kid, and both my parents got married not young in life. They were both a little older than what back then people got married. I think my mom was 27, my dad was 33 or something like that. And, you know, they hit the end of the Depression, so they were believers in working. They clearly gave us a good work ethic because they started working us at a young age. I started working outside of the house when I was about 14 years old, and I had a number of jobs: dishwashing, busboy. I worked at a White's Auto Store. I used to change truck tires, semi-truck tires, and back then you had to do that with a sledge and a wedge. There was no air equipment to do that with. Change tires. I ended up working in high school at a furniture store, you know, trying to balance that with going to school and working. And I played basketball in high school also a little bit, and that was tough. But again, that I think comes from what my parents believed life was about. You had to work. You had to give your employer a little bit extra. You know, today you would call that exceeding expectations. That's not terminology they used, but it was certainly a good lesson that they gave us while we were growing up. We make decisions for unusual reasons sometimes. When I graduated from high school, I wanted to buy a new car because I'd been working for a long time, and I figured I could go out and buy a car. And I went and looked at prices of new cars, and there was no way I could buy a car. And so I asked around as to what kind of professions made decent money, and somebody told me accountants did. So I said, well, okay, that's what I'm going to do. Not a good reason to go to college, but it was a plan. And it was, you know, I took some steps. I signed up, I registered, I got accepted, and I went to college to be an accounting major because I thought they made good money. Nobody told me that they had to work a lot also. I came from a very conservative home environment. So when I left home, I started college when I was 17, just a little bit before I turned 18. And it was to turn me loose in an environment where you've got, I don't remember, 8,000 kids or whatever, 7,000 there was back there. My first semester was a maturing, a learning experience. You know, I worked and I went to class and I partied and my grades suffered. After my first semester, that's when I was thinking about, well, what am I going to do? Back then, you know, Vietnam was going on, and clearly I was well aware that if I didn't stay in school, that the draft would take me immediately. I had friends that were coming back already that were, you know, they were already wounded, they were hurt, and, you know, I said, okay, do I stay? And I decided, well, I'm going to stay and stay a little longer. I talked to my advisor because I was struggling with what I should do, whether I stay in school or not. My advisor was an accounting instructor that I had, which was Professor Davies. He was at New Mexico State for a year or two. He wasn't there very long. But I was considering just taking my accounting courses because I liked the accounting part, and I'm not sure, I wasn't sure I wanted to study all the rest of general education courses that we needed to take. And I went to talk to him one day, and I explained my plan of taking my accounting courses, trying to get everything done in a couple of years and moving on in life. And you know, he told me, you know, if you do that, so that's an option, but you'll be a half-assed accountant. And again, that to me was coming from an adult, again, because of this conservative background, was kind of a shock. But it certainly sent a message to me and made me think about what I wanted to do, and decided that wasn't the right alternative. So I decided to stay. I'm a believer that one of the most important parts of this business is people. Most people believe that public accounting, you deal with figures. I don't believe you deal with figures or numbers. I believe this is a people business. There's been a lot of people that have helped me in my life. And some of them I didn't even realize it till much later in life. And I'm a believer that we have an obligation to help people without expecting repayment or recognition. I think when I've found people that are very motivated, that are willing to listen and want to change what they do, I'm very willing to help them and work with them. I consider that to be part of the job of what we're supposed to do. I do think some people do it better than other people, and I think relating to the people, helping them grow, helping them develop themselves, I think I have done a generally good job of that in the past. And but again, that's what this business and that's what life in general is about, is helping other people. Public accounting is very different today. Public accounting has grown in the basic information that you need to know as compared to when I started 27 years ago. Public accounting, when I started, you did not solicit. Today, public accountants solicit excessively, which is a point that I think is important to students, because some people go into public accounting because they say they don't like sales, but it doesn't matter what you do in life, you have to be a salesman because you're always selling yourself or you're trying to convince people of ideas. And public accounting is much more oriented towards communication skills today. It's also oriented towards the ability to understand great amounts of information and summarize it and present it orally to audit committees, boards of directors, your own management team within the organization. I think that public accounting is in the public light today because of some of the public failures that have occurred in the business environment. That also puts more demand on the individuals starting in public accounting today as compared to where it was almost 30 years ago. What students need to look for, I think, is they need to do well in college, because those are their basics. They need to learn their business courses. When I look for students, I look for good grades, but not just in accounting. After we get past the accounting grades, I look for good grades in English, because communication skills are critical. This is a people business, and writing and written communication skills are very important. I also look for people's extracurricular activities, because if people do things outside of just going to college, that tells me that they can balance their life. This job, like most jobs that have opportunities, are very demanding on people. And if you can't learn to balance this job with your personal life, just the way in college you have to balance your studies and your classroom work with your personal life and your social life and participating in organizations, you won't be successful if you can't learn how to balance that. And I think those are things that kids need to learn. Very surprised initially at being selected to enter the Hall of Fame. I see a lot of people in the world, a lot of people that have graduated from New Mexico State University that I think have made substantial contributions to people, substantial contributions to their communities and their environment. I see people that are what I consider to be very successful from helping people in this world, and to me those are the true heroes, and I was very pleased to be selected. I just wonder what criteria was being used when they made the decision, but I was very pleased and honored. There's 6 kids in my family. I'm the second one, but I was the first one to go to New Mexico State University. My older sister eventually went back, and she did go to school there also. But we came from I think a family that was, we weren't poor, but we certainly weren't financially well off. I took advantage of student loans, grants. Financially, I needed that to stay in school. I worked the whole time I was in school. I think maybe because I started there, everybody else just continued to go there. So of the 6 of us, 5 of us have bachelor's degrees, and my sister got an associate's degree. She never finished, but her bachelor's. But she's got a couple of children that went to school there. I have 2 daughters that went to school there. I have a number of nieces and nephews that have gone to New Mexico State. I'm a believer that I had a lot of breaks in life, and breaks come again from people. People have helped me out. And that's our job in life, is to continue to help the other people that need help. I think I wouldn't be where I am today without an education, and I got that education at New Mexico State. And there was a lot of people there that helped along the way. I think it's my responsibility to continue to do the same thing. And New Mexico State is a great school. I'm very pleased with the education I've got there. I'm pleased with the education that my brothers and sisters have gotten there, and our nieces and nephews and my kids. And I think it's clearly a place that's well worth supporting.
I lived in Mason City, Illinois, till I was in the 3rd grade, and we came down to Las Cruces. My brother and I said it was to dry my mother out, but she had some respiratory problems, so we came to Las Cruces. And my dad was president of the American Shorthorn Association that year, so he was in and out all the time. We had a great year and moved back to Illinois. And about 3 years later, between the summer of my 6th and 7th grade year in 1965, my folks asked if we would like to go on vacation for a 2-week vacation, because in the summers generally we'd always gone to state fairs and county fairs across the country showing cattle. So he gave us a choice between New York to the World's Fair or to come back to Las Cruces. And we've been here since 1965. I guess we've just been on vacation ever since. I started out, I went to Arizona State, planned to major in special education. They had a 4-year, 3-summer master's program, and I thought I would go ahead and do that. And I started taking summer classes at NMSU before I started college at Arizona State. And I got through about a year at ASU and decided that special ed, I admired the people so much who do it, but that wasn't going to be a good career choice for me. I'd minored in business, and so when I transferred back to New Mexico State, it became my major, and I can't say that I could be happier with any other choice. I think business was a great choice for me, but certainly no, I didn't know in the beginning what I wanted to do at all. Well, the strong influences in my life were my parents, obviously, and still are. My mom still goes to the office every day and keeps me on the straight and narrow. If ever there's an example of someone who can set the bar on how you should live your life, my mother's it. And you know, in everybody's life there's a few ups and downs, and she's taught me early on that you just keep going at it, and life turns out pretty well. LEVELDALE's farm that's been in our family for over 150 years. My great-great-grandfather, I think, bought the land in Illinois where we still farm. And my brother and I operate an organic farming operation and raise shorthorns and limousines.